doesn't accomplish what we think. Lonzo Ball has gotten stronger. He's a better shooter. He's a little bit of a playmaker. And this is also, if you're a Laker fan, about Dennis Schroeder, who wants $120 million. Schroeder is a difficult personality. Lonzo and LeBron get along very well. I'm told by people around the NBA, Lonzo's a good hang. There's an old saying for guys. Is he a good hang? You're going to go to Vegas for a weekend. Is he a good hang? Lonzo's a good hang. Like, guys like him. He's a very unselfish player. He came into the league a little brittle and thin. He's not. He's ripped. And he's become a very nice, not elite, but a very nice three-point shooter. So for Laker fans, if you're not watching Pelican games, he's a better player. He's a thicker, better player who shoots better, and I think he's a playmaker. And this morning, if you told me you'd probably have to trade Kyle Kuzma for him, which I would be comfortable doing because I don't think LeBron and Kuzma play well together. I think Lonzo and LeBron would.
Lonzo's always been a more mature player for his age, but his body didn't match the type of player that he needed to be.
That's right.
And he needed to improve his three-point shooting, and he's done all those things. You mentioned he's bigger, he's shooting better, and he is a great distributor.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to learn the Lakers' culture or building or any of that. He's been there before he was drafted there. So I actually think this would be a good move for them.
Yeah.
And sometimes expectations change the reality for players.
Yeah.
You expected him to be something that he wasn't there at that moment and didn't fit what the team was doing at that moment, and now he does.
By the way, he's a very long guard. He's a good rebounding guard. So AD's a good rebounder. You lose Dennis Schroeder's athletic ability. He's very dynamic, but Schroeder's a difficult player who wants to be paid a fortune, and he's not the kind of personality I think the Lakers. I just don't. I think Dennis is sort of he's his own guy, and I think LeBron's more comfortable. Like, there's a little Kyrie Irving to Schroeder's personality. He's going to do his own thing. LeBron tends to like a more collaborative effort. LeBron, you can be flawed with LeBron, J.R. Smith, but J.R. was one of the guys. Schroeder doesn't feel like that to me. He's kind of his own personality. So
I don't think you need to be any of those things if you're working at the right number. But if you want to be paid what he's asking to be paid, then that's all those things are going to start to matter.
Like star money.
Yeah. So Ben Roethlisberger's 39 and entering what many people believe could be his final season in the NFL. And former Steelers head coach Bill Cowherd said he thinks Big Ben is out to prove the doubters wrong this year.
I'm sure he's just thriving right now on the fact that everyone thinks that he's done. The Steelers are done. And I used to always say to people, I said, the greatest thing in sports is to do something nobody thinks you can do. It's one of the greatest accomplishments. And I think right now, Ben is just thriving on that. And can't wait to get out there, probably chopping at the bit to prove. I think he's, I would be very surprised if he didn't have a great year this year.
I think it's their worst O-line in years. And Joy, say what you want about Le'Veon Bell. This team has not run the football since Le'Veon Bell left. And I'm sorry, you cannot ask Ben to throw 50 times a game. He had a game last year, I think he threw over 60. So this is a bad O-line, which wouldn't have been as punitive to Ben his first 5 years in the league because he didn't even look like another quarterback. But before Cam came in, nobody looked like Ben at 6'6", 270. Or 260. So I just think bad O-line. They haven't shown an ability to run the ball. That's why they went and got Najee Harris from Alabama, who, by the way, is a power runner, is not a break it down the sideline. He's only had a handful of 20-plus runs at Alabama. So this all sounds great that he's working out, but I don't buy it.
Look, I'm born and raised in Pittsburgh. I've watched the Steelers my entire life. Okay, they wrap the babies in terrible towels at the hospitals in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I love the Steelers. I love Pittsburgh. I don't like hearing in what might be the final year of your career that your biggest concern this offseason is getting in shape.
And we're making a big deal out of it.
I don't love working out, okay? I go to the gym. I sit on the little elliptical machine, okay? And I watch an episode of Breaking Bad, okay? Yeah. I'm not a gym warrior, all right? You stay in shape. You do some jogging.
Yeah.
If it was my job,
that's what I do all day.
That's what I would do. So I always find it to be like, what is this news? Like that you're in shape this year. Why is that supposed to be exciting to me? Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Now I understand some guys take it a little more seriously than others, but this is your job. Like, I don't need you to post videos in the gym doing box jumps every day, but I don't also need to hear that this is like the year that you're really focused on working out. That's just me. I don't know. This was what you're supposed to do.
Right.
So I don't know why that's news. Like that you're in the best shape of your life now. Why? Why am I supposed to be? I'm like the opposite on the other side. Like, I'm angry now. This is like what you've started to focus on. I just think the Steelers aren't built the way the Steelers need to win. There's a certain way you have to build your team to be successful, especially in that division. They haven't had a running game. They've been patchwork on the offensive line. They've been asking Ben to throw a million times. None of this is what the Steelers do. This is not what you do.
Yeah. So
they've completely lost their identity as far as how they build their team. And I really feel like the Super Bowl window closed on this current situation. When they lost Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger couldn't win together. We'd be like, that was when you should have done something.
Totally agree.
The window's closed.
And the windows never stay open as long as you think. By the way, Brady there was windows in the middle of his 2 dynasties in New England where they weren't good enough they didn't have enough dynamic
didn't
players.
Win the Super Bowl every year, but this is what it is. And like, look, they might. I still think they'll be consistent because of the Steelers, and they have a great coach. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season, so it's not like they're going to be a disaster. But the standard should be championships, and that's just not. I don't see that happening this year. So Jake Paul was on Undisputed this morning. To talk about his upcoming fight with Tyron Woodley, and he was asked about potentially squaring off against Conor McGregor in the ring.
I still think Jake Paul versus Conor McGregor will be one of the biggest pay-per-views in the history of boxing. But look, man, I don't want to fight losers. The guy keeps on losing. You know, his act is being exposed, and he's on a downhill trajectory. My career, my boxing is on an uphill trajectory. So, you know, I got $23 for him, and he can buy 23 McChickens at that.
I will say this. His act has peaked, McGregor's. I don't know if this is supported by many people. I love these Jake Paul fights, because it's got an everyman quality. He's a big, strong kid who's totally committed to boxing. He started way late, and it's like, I got to be honest with you, when you watch him, he's committed, and he's not refined. It's not it's not the sweet science with him as much, but he's so committed to it. I'm kind of into watching him fight.
What is hard for people to swallow is that he's getting these fights and is able to transition into this space because of his fame. Well,